Hello fellow Minecrafters. In this video I want to talk about filtering experience orbs and non-stackable items from water streams. The 1.16.100 update brought two changes to mob loot that impact mob farms and item transport. First is that experience orbs now float in water, and second, mobs that are killed by projectiles can now drop equipped items like weapons and armor. Now, these are overall positive changes, but they do bring some problems. First of all, with experience orbs, old ways of sorting experience and items don't work. And in fact, the behavior of experience orbs in water is a little bit unexpected if you're used to the way that items behave in water. And so we need new filtering systems. Secondly, with non-stackable items, these will now drop from trident killers because trident killers use thrown tridents. And that means they'll drop in mob farms that use trident killers. But the problem here is that they drop way too much. The drop rate for most equipment in Minecraft Bedrock Edition is 25%, or roughly 25%, based on testing. And each level of looting for some items seems to increase that drop rate by about 3 to 4%. So, for example, tridents drop from drowned that are holding tridents at about a rate of 37 to 40% if you're using a looting 3 sword. Same with the golden swords held by zombie pigmen. Here you can see one double chest worth of loot from a general mob farm run without any filtering. All of those bows and armor pieces build up quickly, and they can be a pain to sort through if you're doing it manually. Fortunately, non-stackable item filters exist. The two standard designs are shown right here. But they have some complications. To begin with, you have to put items into a hopper pipe first to filter out non-stackables, but you cannot push XP through a hopper pipe. Ideally, we want to be able to move both XP and items through water streams to where we want them. In this video, I'm going to show you my solution for filtering non-stackables out of a water stream while allowing XP and stackable items to continue onward. I'm also going to explain the mechanics of filtering XP and how to make non-stackable item filtering 100% reliable. Let's start with XP. How do we separate floating XP orbs from items? The solution is in understanding how XP orbs and items float differently. Take a look at this example. You can see that the XP and items both float, but there are two differences. First, the XP tries to sit on top of the water and pretty much sits still there. Items float at the top also, but they slowly move up and down just like they do on land. This movement is server-side, it's not just visual. It's the actual item position moving up and down. This means that the item collision box drops lower into water than XP does. But second, XP reacts only to the water block that it's inside of. Items, on the other hand, react to the block below. This may be a consequence of their up and down movement, I don't know, but among other things it means that you can pull items downward by allowing water to flow downward underneath the water block that they're in, like this. As you can see, the torch went straight through the water as soon as the water was flowing down. So how can we use these behaviors to separate XP orbs and items in streams? First, vertically, we can allow XP and items to flow over falling water, and we can apply this in 3 ways. So in this first setup here, I have it set up for the items and XP to flow over falling water, and to get the items to come down reliably, we need a 2-block gap. They don't have enough straight momentum down to fall down a single block hole. In a larger build, you might put a second stream underneath here for the items, or hoppers, or fire for an XP only farm, or whatever you want. Now you can also split the items and XP at the end of a stream, and that's what I have set up in this demo. The XP and items will flow into the water column, and the XP goes up because these 2 blocks at the top are source blocks. The blocks at the ice level and below are falling water, so again the items go down there. The third application of vertical separation is to split XP orbs left and right. We have the water flow over falling water to pull items down and then to the right, and we put a block up here at the top level to make sure that the current at the top goes leftward, so the XP will go to the left. Now it helps to have this empty spot here just to give the items a better chance to fall downward. And that's going to work this way. Now I want to show you a way to filter horizontally without dropping the water. What we're going to do is have items and XP flow into an obstacle that the XP can crawl over, just like this slab here. And it works this way. It depends on three mechanics. First of all, the ice of all forms affects the entire space above, so anything on top of a partial block is still going to be affected by the ice. And secondly, momentum in Minecraft, just like the real world, can take some time to wind down, so the XP pushed onto the slab or into the slab by the water will continue sliding across the ice for a bit. And third, XP floats higher than items do. This may be because of the way items bob up and down, but in any case, you can combine these three mechanics to stop items with a short block while sending the XP past. Let's see that one more time. Now this is very reliable. I've run it for hours in mob farms and it works perfectly. One important thing to note here, though, is that the blocks that you can use for this, like this slab I have, depend on the length of the water stream. So I have a little demonstration over here of water streams of different lengths. If your water stream is 8 blocks long, you can actually put a piece of carpet there that will stop the items. Now, carpet will not block water, so if you had water on the other side, it would break it, but it is high enough to stop the item if that's the end of your ice path. Then for 7 or 6 block long water, you can use a trap door. And that will stop the items. Oh, I absorbed the XP. Whoops. That will stop the items while the XP goes by. For 5, 4, or 3 block long water, you need a lower slab. And that will let the XP by, block the items. You can also do this if water is only flowing 1 block from the source, but you actually need to use a stone cutter, which is slightly higher than a lower slab, and that will still block the item and let the XP pass. So you can see that we actually have some great ways to filter XP orbs from items. You can adapt these in whatever way suits what you want to build. Now that we've seen how to filter out XP from items, let's go back and look at how to filter non-stackable items, the armor, bows, tools, potions, etc. that drop way too much and clog storage systems. I'm back here at the 2 standard non-stackable item filters, and as I pointed out earlier, these rely on hopper pipes. In fact, this design here is the standard Impulse SV item filter for sorting stackable items, and it's just moved up by 1 block so that the comparator is reading directly from the hopper pipe rather than from a filter hopper below it. So in addition to the fact that hopper pipes obviously can't pull through experience orbs, in Bedrock Edition, hopper pipes themselves are not reliable when they're under heavy loads. I've built a system here to demonstrate that. And what this is a hopper pipe going across 3 filters. We've got red dye, yellow dye, and blue dye. And this dropper is going to randomize which of those gets put into the hopper pipe at the beginning. They will go through, and you'll see that some of the dyes will shortly begin showing up in the overflow chest. And while I let that run for a few seconds, let me explain why I think that is. I believe it's because of the random update order on Bedrock Edition. There is a chance that a dye that before the filter hopper below has a chance to pull a dye from the hopper pipe, a second dye can be pushed in. And then when the filter pulls, it'll pull the first one. The second dye will never get checked, as it were, and then there's a chance that this part of the hopper pipe will push that second piece on before it gets checked. So if you watch the hopper pipe like this, you can see that sometimes items do end up in the second spot. And that is what leads to items in the overflow that should have been filtered. You can see that most of the red dye here is being filtered, but we already have some in the overflow just from running this for a few seconds. And the speed at which the dropper is putting items in is not faster than hopper speed here. In this first hopper, you can see the items are going one by one. It's just they get out of order. Now, the error rate there is small. It's probably less than 1%. But in a large mob farm, or a mob farm that's run for a period of time, that's going to become very noticeable. And you'll have to then either throw out the overflow or sort through it manually or whatever. You may end up losing some items if you just burn it all. So the hopper pipe is not the ideal solution. And a third limitation of using hoppers is that they are also unreliable for pulling items out of water streams. So here I have another demo set up where if I put a hopper under this water stream, oops, let me get up there, can't push the buttons correctly. Okay. Here I'm going to send bursts of items like you might get in a mob farm. And you can see many of the items are going right past. That's not because the hopper is full. It's for two reasons. One is because hoppers only pull items once every 8 game ticks, or they only collect free floating items once every 8 game ticks. Now you could replace this hopper with a hopper minecart, which checks every game tick, but it would still miss some of these items, and that's because there's just, when you have a burst of drops, there's just too many different things flowing by at one time for it to grab them all. It's not going to grab everything. It's only going to grab one item type each game tick, even with a hopper minecart. So, so we need a more sophisticated system to filter from a water stream through a non-stackable item filter, and that's what I'm now going to show you. So what we want is to be able to filter out all of the non-stackables from a water stream while allowing the XP and stackable items to pass by. My solution has 4 parts. So first, we're going to use a non-stackable filter under a water stream. And I'm going to put some placeholder blocks that I'll fill in as we go along. The non-stackable filter is going to be arranged like this. This hopper will grab items from the stream. This is the hopper pipe here. So the comparator is going to read off of the top hopper if it will let me place it. There are issues with placing comparators that I've had. There we go. So that's going to read from that hopper there. Now, for reasons that'll become clear later, I'm going to build the circuit for the non-stackable in a kind of unique way. And in this build, these sandstone blocks could be any blocks that you can place redstone components on. The polished andesite represents blocks that are going to be powered. And so this comparator is going to power that andesite, send a signal down, and if that signal is 3 long, indicating a non-stackable item is present in that hopper, then it's going to shut off this bottom hopper so the bottom hopper can pull the item out. So that's a non-stackable filter. Now the second step is going to be having the items from the non-stackable filter go into dropper pipes. Now the first dropper down here is going to point down, and this is going to go into a lava cauldron to burn the non-stackables. Let me switch a few things here in my inventory. So we need a lava cauldron like that, and so non-stackable items are going to go be filtered in the bottom hopper and go into this dropper so that they can be burned. The stackable items will be piped back up into the water stream here from the top hopper. Now these droppers will need to be powered by regular pulses to send the items up and down as need be, but I'm going to wait to show you how to do that because it's going to depend on how I put the rest of the system together. As yet, this non-stackable filter is not going to be 100% reliable, not in this form, because of the problem I explained earlier with hopper pipes. To make it reliable so that it doesn't accidentally send non-stackables through, we are going to add a locking mechanism like this. Now, whenever this top hopper reads an item, it is going to shut off the hopper that's pushing into it, so that there will never be more than one item in the hopper that's being read by the comparator. And so this one comparator is powering both the filter circuit and this locking mechanism. This will make sure that no non-stackable items ever pass through the filter without being properly filtered, and this makes it 100% reliable. Now, the fact that this comparator is going to be reading every item that comes through and locking the back hopper means it's going to generate a pulse, like a clock circuit, every time one item goes through. And because of that, we can also use the same signal to power the droppers. So what we're going to do here is put another piece of dust off the other side. So from the top, this will look this way. This comparator is now powering all three of those blocks. This block will activate that dropper. We can put a torch up here to activate the upper dropper alternately with the one below it. And then to activate the bottom dropper, we need to be careful not to hard power these droppers, because then that would disable the hoppers that are feeding into them and mess up the circuitry. So we're going to soft power with dust that is not pointed at the droppers. Let me grab a slab. To do that, you would need to either put glass or a slab in this spot here. I'll have to put that dust back again. And a piece of dust coming down from that torch. So now whenever that torch cycles on and off, it will also power this block, which activates the bottom dropper. So every time an item passes through the filter, whether it's stackable or non-stackable, all of the droppers will fire. So items will continue going through here one by one in a 100% reliable, flawless filtering system that puts the stackable items back up into the water stream. The fourth and final part of the system will be to make sure that items never float over this hopper without getting pulled through the filtering system. But we do want to allow XP to flow past. And to do that, we're going to use the XP filtering that I showed in the first half of this video. So we'll take out this block right here, replace it with packed ice, put a slab on top of it, and then we're going to need to put a new water source on top of the dropper behind there. I'm missing a barrier block. So let's just put some glass, and now we'll turn on the burst of drops again, and you can see we've got some leather caps and bows in among the dye that's being dropped, and everything is being filtered through this system. The stackables and the XP go past, and the non-stackables are being sent down into the lava cauldron. If we look at it from the other side, non-stackables are going through, stackables are going through. Now this is flawless. You have a 100% reliable filter that pulls non-stackables out of an item stream and sends XP orbs and stackable items on to wherever you want to collect them. There is a catch, which is that this system, because of the locking mechanism, runs at 2/3 hopper speed. That means it can only handle 6,000 items per second. That's enough for a triple spawner farm or one chunk of a good general mod farm. But the good news is that you can also put this filter anywhere along the item stream. You can put it remote, away from your AFK or storage location. You can put it under each module of a multi-chunk farm. You can also, if you want, use a hopper minecart here instead of a hopper, and that's what I've done in my initial demo system here. This one spawns skeletons at about the rate of a double skeleton spawner. And with the hopper minecart, you just need to extend the dropper pipe one block further if you have it under the block like that. It works just the same. Does not run any faster. You're still limited to 6,000 items per second. But there is a complete filter system, how you might send items through the filter and then on to an AFK location. Well, I hope that you found this video helpful for dealing with floating XP and non-stackable drops. Even if you don't build the exact system that I showed here, I hope the discussion of mechanics was useful for your own designs. Let me know in the comments how it works for you or if you have any questions.